Hi. Um, that was a very dramatic countdown to what is essentially just me sitting in my kitchen talking about books. Welcome to At Home with Penguin with me, Scarlett Curtis. This is a live series where each week a writer invites you to their home to share some of our routines and some of the things that bring us comfort at the moment. I am a writer and activist. I have published two books with Penguin. The first was called Feminists Don't Wear Pink and Other Lies. The second was called It's Not Okay to Feel Blue and Other Lies. They are both collections of essays on feminism and mental health. And all the royalties from the books go to two amazing charities. Today, I'm going to be telling you what I've been up to, and shortly I'll be doing a live Q&A. So please send in your questions in the comment section because I don't want to be talking to myself. So my daily routine, well, I moved back in with my family at the beginning of lockdown. So right now I am in my childhood home in Suffolk, and we have a very big family. There's 9 of us quarantining together, and I feel incredibly lucky to be with my family, with people, to have people around, because I normally live on my own in quite a small flat in London. So if I hadn't come up here, it would have been very different, but it's also quite intense. I have 3 teenage brothers, a 93-year-old grandma. My cousin is here with us and she has 2 children under the age of 6. So I've had to really change my routine from being a quite selfish 24-year-old to being a part of a big family. I've been doing a lot of tutoring with my brothers and my cousin's kids. That's been really fun, except often I realize that I don't know anything about what they're learning. And I have to do a quick Google before trying to teach them. I've been trying to do a bit of work. I've been doing a bit of writing. This is my workspace, which is just the kitchen table. You can see my spices. Oh no, my spices back there. My mug's back there. But yeah, I've been doing a bit of working, quite a lot of cooking, more cooking than I've done before. It is quite sad cooking for one, which is what I do in London. So cooking for a big family is definitely a lot funner. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, which is a game on the Nintendo Switch, which is really getting me through right now. I can highly recommend it if you need some intense distraction. So my grandma and my brother are vulnerable, so we are considered to be a sheltered household, which means we can't go to the shops or go out of our house or garden. Thankfully, we've got a garden, but as a result, I haven't been going out at all. I've just been sitting in the garden. But once a week, a man in a van comes to our small village with a van full of fish. And once a week, I get to go out to the van and eat the fish. Oh, not eat the fish, buy fish with a mask on and gloves. Buy the fish, cook fish. That's been really fun. The fish man is definitely a highlight of my week. I've also, so my granny, as I said, she's 93. She used to be an actress. She is an amazing woman. And up until lockdown, she was still doing tap dance and swimming once a week. And she's really missing the tap dance and swimming. So we have been doing tap dance with my granny. She's much better than me and my mum, but every day at 12, we try and do a little tap dance, which has been really fun. Yeah, so I've been very grateful for my brothers and my family. I've been trying, it says here, what's keeping me motivated. And I've actually been trying not to put too much pressure on myself. I am a workaholic, hence the reason why before lockdown I created 2 books in 2 years, which was a very big thing to take on, but I love working, and it's definitely really shaken me up not being able to work and not being able to rely on that, because that is what keeps me going. in all times, and suddenly not having that is really intense, and it makes me feel kind of definitely gets rid of my confidence. Just all of those things that I rely on have gone. So I've been really trying not to put too much pressure on myself, not to be mean to myself, which is something I also have a real tendency to do. I think this has been a particularly, I mean, it's a tough time for everyone, but I was sick when I was, for my whole teenage years. So I got sick when I was 14 and I couldn't walk. I was in lots and lots of pain, and I couldn't really leave the house between the ages of 14 and 19. I also had a severe mental breakdown during that time. I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PTSD, which are all things I write about in the book. But I think this time of suddenly being locked back in again has really, really reminded me of when I was sick before. And it, for everyone else, it feels like, normal life has suddenly changed. And actually, I'd only had about 5 years of normal life before lockdown. So to me, being locked inside and unable to go anywhere, actually, that feels almost too normal. And so it's been really hard to not let my brain slip back into how it used to be when I was sick and sort of think that this is going to last forever, because last time I was locked down, it lasted for 6 years, and this is not going to last for 6 years. And I am going to be back with my friends and back with my life, but that's definitely been a struggle. So I think most of the things that I've been doing are geared towards just trying to keep my mental health above water, and not let myself sort of not let the anxiety and the depression overwhelm me. I've been staying connected. Yes, yeah. Sorry, there's voices in my ear. So I have lots and lots and lots of book recommendations. I have all back here. I was only meant to choose one, but I chose, these are just all the books I've been actually reading. I've been reading a lot of Jane Austen. I find that very comforting. Wendy Cope is my favourite poet, and I've been reading a bit of poetry. This is a book called Lunar Living, which is about moon ceremonies, and I've been making my brothers do moon ceremonies with me constantly, which has been very fun. Wuthering Heights, I reread that because it's another comfort book. But the real comfort book that I wanted to talk about is Nancy Mitford. Nancy Mitford is one of my favorite writers in the entire world. I've read almost everything she's ever written. Just her book, nothing. I first read her books when I was 12 years old, which was the first book I read was The Pursuit of Love, and nothing makes me feel more comforted or feminine or joyful or just wonderful as Nancy Mitford. So I think if you're looking for a comfort book, Nancy Mitford's the one. And to get your taste buds wet, I thought I'd read a little bit from the beginning of The Pursuit of Love. It's just a book about growing up and that feeling when you are a teenager and you're so desperate to grow up and become a part of the world, and you're seeing all these adults around you, and you just know that there's all these limits on your life, but you just cannot wait to be able to have sex and drink and eat food and do everything you've wanted to do. So this is from the first chapter of The Pursuit of Love. When a child, I spent my Christmas holidays at Alconley. It was a regular feature of my life, and while some of them slipped by with nothing much to remember, others were distinguished by violent occurrences and had a definite character of their own. There was the time, for example, when the servant's wing caught fire, the time when my pony lay on me in the brook and nearly drowned me. Not very nearly, he was soon dragged off, but meanwhile bubbles were said to have been observed. There was drama when Linda, aged 10, attempted suicide in order to rejoin an old smelly border terrier which Uncle Matthew had put down. She collected and ate a basket full of yew-berries, was discovered by Nanny, and given mustard and water to make her sick. She was then spoken to by Aunt Sadie, clipped over the ear by Uncle Matthew, put to bed for days, and given a Labrador puppy, which soon took the place of the old border in her affections. There was much worse drama when Linda, aged 12, told the daughters of neighbours who'd come for tea what she supposed to be the facts of life. Linda's presentation of the facts had been so gruesome that the children left Alconley howling dismally, their nerves permanently impaired, their future chances of sane and happy sex life much reduced. This resulted in a series of dreadful punishments, from a real beating administered by Uncle Matthew to a luncheon upstairs for a week. There was the unforgettable holiday when Uncle Matthew and Aunt Sadie went to Canada. The Radlett children would rush for the newspapers every day, hoping to see their parents' ship had gone down with all aboard. They yearned to be total orphans, especially Linda, who saw herself as Katie and what Katie did, the reins of the household gathered into small but capable hands. The ship met with no iceberg and weathered the Atlantic storms, but meanwhile we had a wonderful holiday, free from rules. I just love this book so much, and truly, if you're looking for something, I think that'll be the one to read to make you feel comforted. Okay, now we're going to go into the audience Q&A. So I think people have been hopefully sending in questions. If not, I can come up with some questions. They're coming up on screen. Yay. Do keep asking questions in the comments. Question 1, have you read any books in lockdown that have helped you deal with your mental health? So unfortunately, I don't have my book, which is called It's Not Okay to Feel Blue and Other Lies, which I've actually, this sounds very lame, but I've been reading it during lockdown. It is a collection of essays by 75 people on what mental health means to them. And the reason I put it together was because I didn't want to feel as alone with my mental health. So it's 75 people that I love and admire telling me that they also struggle and giving me their tips. So I've actually been dipping into my own book, not reading the bits by me, but I think it is I'm hoping it's a really helpful book for right now. And it always helps me whenever I feel sad. It's quite a good toilet book or by side the bed book because, lots of short bits you can just dip in. Okay. How do you keep your hair so beautiful? Wow, that is really, really nice. My hair's normally pink or blue. I like to dye it with my books, but all the dye's faded out now and my roots have gone insane. The answer to this is I only wash it once a week and I use loads and loads of oil on it, more oil than you ever thought you needed in your hair. Think of it as if you're cooking a really oily pasta. That's the kind of amount of oil you need in your hair. Any hair oil is fine. Do you have any advice for how to keep a good relationship with your family when you're stuck in the house together? If anyone knows the answer to this question, please tell me, because I don't know. The thing that I think has been really helping us is having some time apart. I have a lock on my bedroom door. That really helps. Keeping some time apart. And then also, we're a big family for organized fun. So when we're just sort of left to hang out with each other, we don't get on very well and we fight. But if we organize things, then that kind of works. So we've been having fancy dinner on Fridays where we eat in a different part of our house and we pretend that we're in a restaurant and we all get quite drunk and stay up really late and pretend that it's a crazy night out. We've also been, for my granny, we've been reading plays. So we did The Importance of Being Earnest. We ordered loads of copies online and then all got apart and read, and it was very nice. But we have also been fighting. But my advice would be, organized fun. Any advice for how to stop feeling stressed, overwhelmed, sad? I'm so sorry you are feeling like that. I have been feeling like that a lot during this time. I think, again, I said this before, but the main thing is just don't put pressure on yourself. As I said, I was sick for a really long time, and I wish the one thing I'd known was that all I needed to do during that time was get through it. I didn't need to achieve anything. I didn't need to write a novel. I didn't need to, become the greatest sick person in the world. I just needed to get through it. And this is a really, really tough time and it's not going to last forever. And the only bit of pressure you need to put on yourself is to just stay alive during this time. I truly believe that. In terms of in the immediate moment, my go-to coping skills are watching TV. I've been watching loads of Law and Order SVU. For some reason it calms me down. if you're really in a panic, if you feel like you're about to have a panic attack, I play games on my phone and listen to an audiobook. And I find the combination of an audiobook and the game on my phone, it gets rid of my crazy thoughts for a minute and lets me calm down. Also, I have a lot of baths. I've been swimming in the sea, which has really helped. If you've got a cold body of water anywhere near you, I find that helps. But also, seriously, if you're really struggling with mental health, there are loads of therapists offering online support at the moment. That might be a good idea. Or just sort of researching or looking into some more mental health tools. Everyone's got different things that work for them. But I'm very sorry you're feeling that way. What inspired Feminists Don't Wear Pink? Feminists Don't Wear Pink. I have it here, actually. So from the age of 19, I got very involved in a lot of different feminist activism. I was part of a lot of really amazing feminist activist collectives in New York. And then when I moved to London, I tried to set up my own feminist activist collective, which is called the Pink Protest. We are a group of young women who want to change the world. And I was part of a few really great movements, the Free Periods movement. I did a big campaign with Nimco Ali to try and get FGM included in the Children's Act. And I'd just been working with all these amazing women. And someone approached me with the idea to do a book about feminism. And I was like, well, if I wrote a book about feminism, that's not a book I want to read. Like, no one needs another 21-year-old white girl writing her definition of feminism. And to me, feminism is only the coming together of different kinds of women to form a movement. So that was what inspired Feminists Don't Wear Pink. It's 52 different women coming together to tell you what they see as feminism. It's got 10 teenagers in, it's got Hollywood stars in, it's got amazing activists in. And another thing is, every time I talk to someone about feminism, they'd say to me, I really want to be a feminist, but I don't think I've read enough books. And I was like, it made me so angry, because there are so many incredible books about feminism out there, but I think women really often feel they need a degree in feminism in order to call themselves a feminist. And actually, all you need is to think that men and women should be equal. That's it. So the idea for this was that it was for young girls, and that it would be your first book that you read about feminism, and hopefully that set you off into a lifetime of feminism. I have this theory that no one ever says, I used to be a feminist. It's not a phrase you ever hear. So that tells you quite a lot, I think. Next question. Amazing. What do you love about writing? That is a really good question. Part of my anxieties are that I find some social interaction very hard. Obviously, during this time, I'm really missing my friends, but I have been known to get very anxious in social situations. And I think I love writing because you can be completely alone and writing and yet feel connected to the whole world in a way. Like, you can just feel this connection. And then when someone reads your writing, this thing that you've written all on your own, that's come right from your brain, the idea that someone else is reading that and that you're connected to them without ever meeting them, or, yeah, I think it's really beautiful. And nothing makes me more excited than when I'm writing. It makes me feel like I don't take drugs or drink, really, but writing sometimes makes me feel like the biggest high of all time. If it's a good day, if it's a bad day, it feels terrible. And what else? Oh, well, when I was sick, reading was just the thing that saved me. Like, I dropped out of school when I was 14. The only reason I've got an education is because of books. The only reason I learned how to be a human was because of books. The only reason I was able to talk to people really was because of books. So the idea that I would be able to contribute anything to that world, nothing feels more exciting than that. Next question. Are you managing to stay focused and creative? And if so, do you have any tips? I think so. At the beginning of lockdown, I was really pushing myself to work and be creative and write. And as expected, when I did that, it didn't work. and I just found myself getting really stressed. And then I think I decided a few weeks in that I was just going to try and take that pressure off myself. My mental health was really struggling. I was getting really anxious and having loads of panic attacks. So I was like, okay, there's no pressure. This is a hard time. You just have to get through it. And I think when actually I surrendered to that, I was able to be a bit more focused and creative, which is always the way that it is. Um, so yeah, I've just been experimenting with different things. My family, as I said, is quite overwhelming. So I've been waking up really early before they wake up and working for a few hours in the morning. And then I think it means the rest of the day, if I get interrupted, if I get distracted, if I get sad, I don't feel as much pressure to work because I've already got those few hours in the morning. And that's been really helping me. But also just don't put pressure on yourself during this time. Like this is the time for looking after yourself, not working your ass off. Okay, we have two more questions. Let's make them good. Who or what is your biggest influence? That is an amazing question. I mean, very sort of clichédly, Virginia Woolf is the single person in the world that I think has had the most impact on me and my life. I wouldn't, I don't think I will ever even be remotely what she was, but the fact that she not only was just the most incredible creative writer, that she also attacked mental health so far before her time, and that she was just the most amazing feminist. And Three Guineas. So everyone's read, well, most people have read A Room for One's Own, but Three Guineas is her book about war and peace and how war should be ended. And I think that is like the one of the most important books in my whole life. And my mum is a big influence on me. I am even more admiring of her now that I'm here and watching her parent again. Because, and then just every feminist I've ever met. I know that sounds mad. I've got a book here, Angela Davis, Woman, Race and Class. This is one of the first feminist books I read, and it's one of my favorites. I just think I think feminism is an incredibly creative act because you are rewriting history and you're having to imagine a world where women are equal, which didn't exist when loads of these people writing and still doesn't exist. So yeah, any feminist that puts themselves out there and writes is a big influence of mine. Okay, one more question. I'll try and be quicker with this one. What's the first thing you'll do when lockdown is over? This is so lame, but I really want a takeaway coffee. My routine as a human being is that every day I leave my house in the morning and I go get a takeaway coffee, and it makes me feel like a citizen of the world and like I'm connected to people. And I really, really want a takeaway coffee, and then I just want to see my friends. I want like a lovely dinner where we're all showing off our new cooking skills and we all make each other banana bread and we all get to hug and kiss and touch each other's food. That's what I want. Okay. Oh, I also miss bookshops. I really miss bookshops. Anyone else? It's when you go into a bookshop and you're like, yeah, that's what I miss. Okay, I think we're basically at the end now. Thank you for watching. Just a reminder, the book that brings me comfort is The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford. It's a Penguin book. Didn't even realize that. Truly, it is just joy and womanhood and teenagehood embodied in a short book, and I really hope you read it. If you do read it, please let me know what you thought of it. That's a genuine ask. My social handles are at Scar Curtis on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also on Goodreads, which I feel might apply to you guys. I log all the books I've read. I'm a big Goodreads fan. Follow me on Goodreads. It's just Scarlett Curtis, I think. At Home with Penguin will continue every week, and I have been watching and I love this. It just makes me feel cozy and warm. So please check Penguin's social media for the full lineup and tune back in next Tuesday when the guest will be the astronaut Tim Peake. Honestly, couldn't get more different from me, I think. I'm not an astronaut at all. I barely like going on the tube, let alone a spaceship. Until then, I am heading offline to spend my evening with a book and a cup of tea and maybe some soup. I hope you will too. Take care of yourself, please. Don't put pressure on yourself, please. And happy reading.